All right. Welcome to the liminal space. As always, Anupa and I love holding these conversations in the liminal space where, we are just somewhere. We are neither here nor there, but in between something. And today is one such day. And it is a very special day because in this liminality, before I talk about anything else, I want to tell you a very dear friend, an amazing storyteller, somebody who is known for her work in the area of stories, in retreats, and such a wonderful human being. Jyoti, she's also here with us. So we want to welcome Jyoti with a lot of love and also applause. So, welcome, Jyoti, to our.
Thank you so much. Feels great, great, great to be here and meeting two of my dear friends, Anupa and Ritu. A great feeling to be here. Thank you, both of you.
Thank you, thank you. So, so just like always, we have something to talk about which has come from our hearts. All our conversation are driven by heartfelt conversations. And on one such day, Anupa was narrating an incident, and that incident is the theme for today. And before I hand over the mic, so-called virtual mic to Anupa, the topic is called the Notebook of Memories. And with that, over to you, Anupa. Love to hear what you have today in the liminal space.
Thank you, Ritu, and Jyoti. Welcome in this liminality. Before I start this incident that I narrated, Ritu, to you, I just want, because Jyoti is here, especially, I wanted to say, I'm reminded of this saying that so often Saru would say, whatever is celebrated is sustained. And so we celebrate Jyoti and our friendship is sustained. So this was the incident now. So this was one day when I was cleaning drawers and on my study table, and I was cleaning this drawer, and I suddenly find one pretty very humble notebook from very old time with my father's business name written on it, UEC Projects in Ichapur. And I'm like, oh, this is with me. And I opened the notebook to see immaculate handwriting of my father and very mundane things written in it: driver, salary, business, some project, so much account, mostly accounting, and also a Saraswati picture, okay, which I mistook for a Lakshmi. And then on closer look, it was, as I was moving pages, and there were bookmarks on those also, so those were important stuff for him. Most of the pages were written, some were empty. I'm still getting goosebumps. My father is now 87. When I looked at that notebook and reading through the notebook, it took me back, I don't know how many years, back to our Howrah home where my father ran a business and he was the father I always knew. He's 87 now and in bed, one emaciated figure I see on camera and lying down, God knows thinking what. That notebook reminded me of so many things. The man that my father is. Yeah. And it took me back, and I was reminded of little things he would do, say. And also, most importantly, it reminded me how everybody, my mother included, would say how scattered your father is. He doesn't have any idea what is happening. He's so scattered. And I am very scattered too. If people look at me, I'm very scattered. And then I see this notebook where this man has written down everything. I'm like, he's not scattered. I've grown up believing he was. That was such a revelation. And I was sitting with stories in my trains running in my head, one notebook, few pages in it of mundane things. And I was transported back to so many memories. It also, I think what it did was, I've always, so the notebook is of a man, okay, of a person who, and I've never acknowledged my father to be that person. It is always his Baba. And it's so taken for granted. He would, take it. So I wondered, oh my God, he was such a meticulous fellow. No wonder, he's created whatever he's created for himself every day. And I sat there, drawer cleaning went for a toss. I was in some memory land, down memory lane, walking the old streets of my old house that I have left so many years ago that I don't remember myself. And yeah, and I was so many things made me sad, so many things made me happy, and so many things I made peace with. And what it did to me, that little humble notebook, it's made me so much more kinder to how quickly we judge people, how quickly I tag people without even knowing, yeah, what's inside. That never judge a book by its cover. Yeah, so many memories. So that was what I shared. The notebook still remains, and I look at it every day now with more meaning. That's not just a notebook, it's more meaningful now. So yes, that was the sharing. And I took a walk down my memory lane, many memory lanes. And yeah, I think each of us have such notebooks or something which gives us so many memories. Yes, so that was my sharing, Ritu.
Wonderful, wonderful, Anupa. And I think the way you narrate, I can see from Jyoti's face also, there's so many memories flashing for us. As you went down your memory lane, we walked with you, but we also walked into our memory lanes. And even I have goosebumps. And the way you look at things and the way you kind of, what you bring out of it, I think what really resonates is the kindness and how we it seems so simple and cliched, never judge a book by its cover, and yet it's so deep and so relevant. Thank you, Anupa, for sharing it. And I'm just thinking, since we have Jyoti over here, Jyoti, anything that comes to your mind as any resonance? Over to you.
Yeah, what it was, of course, I mean, all of us traveled through Anupa, and I was visualizing everything, probably in my own way of her home and the diary. And when she said her mother would say how scattered he is, you know, people closer to you, I think, tend to see um, you more most of the time in a very negative way. I think, I don't know, we either we take them for granted. So that stood out, and of course it took me to memories of my father. um, you know, you shared about diary, and he was very finicky about um, cutting the nails of his toes. And since he couldn't bend down so much, he would request one of us. And since he was so fussy, ये ऐसे ठीक नहीं हुआ है, इसको ऐसे करो, we would just, all three of us, brothers, sisters, we'd try to escape doing that. And if caught, it used to be such a buggery for us, that this nail cutting thing, and he would just request for a small thing. And when you narrated about your father, my father was, of course, I mean, came from a very patriarchal space, and he had his way of doing things. And now when I see how helpless he would be when he would ask one of us to cut the toenails, and we would be, running here and there. And yeah, that was the memory that came to me. And also, the thing is, it is just a part of them. you know there may be many other parts, but at one particular time, one part resonates with you, or a major part resonates with you, and that small part is left behind. Is I see, you would see him doing everything on his own and controlling things, but this one little thing brought out that aspect of, seeking help sometimes and being dependent. So that was the thing that came up, Ritu, for me.
Thank you so much, Jyoti, for sharing a very precious, special moment. Because when we share about our parents, we are really opening our hearts to the love that we feel for them. And course, he must be the patriarch of the family, and yet that human connection, that humanness in him to ask, and we live with this. Sometimes the desire to have, you know, like you were sharing earlier also in our conversation, every time I pick up a nail cutter, I'm reminded of this instance. So this instance plays on and on. So it's not just a incident from his life, but it becomes so much larger. And I'm sure people who will listen to this video of ours will be reminded of many things. And it's a short nugget. So any I before we come to a close, anything that comes for you in terms of any image, any metaphor that you would like to share, Anupa and Jyoti, I just again over to you, so that we don't miss nuggets of wisdom.
So, yeah, please go ahead, Anup.
So for me, Ritu, so I know he's 87, my father, very soon. I mean, sooner than later, he would pass on. But what will remain, and he will remain alive in me. And I always say this to myself and everyone else also, that my father's going to live on in me, with me, because I'm a very organized person at a very deep level. But when one looks at me, like Jyoti said, to the close ones who look at me, my closest, feel I'm very chaotic and scattered. But really speaking, I'm very organized. And I think that is something I've, at a very unconscious level, picked up from my father. And that is something that I'm going to celebrate. And hence, I firmly believe my father will be sustained in me. His ways will be sustained in me. Yeah.
So beautiful, Anupa, yes. And for me, my relationship was with my father, being a patriarch that he wasn't very good. But lately, very lately, I have learned to kind of focus on beautiful memories and let go of the things which troubled me. And again, I tend to tell myself he was probably the victim of his conditioning, his circumstances, which I failed to understand then. I would just look at him that how can my father do this, take sides and treat me and my brother differently. So I could never forgive him then. But gradually I'm learning to forgive him, judge him less, and see humanness, as Ritu pointed out, in small things for which he would depend on us. So yeah, that is it.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, Anupa. I think this is, and my thanks are so much and much more vaster than I'm saying them, because you all are sharing very precious and very special moments of your life and opening your hearts to all of us over here and to larger people who will, listen to our conversation. And everybody's shared about their fathers, and I'm so, like, I was contemplating should I say or not, but as a closing thought, uh, like we spoke about diaries, and my father used to work for Mohan Makins, and Mohan Makins would have those most beautiful diaries on which every page would have a shairi in Hindi as well as Urdu, right? And I think, and they were really coveted, and they were, people wanted them even before they were published. So we would he would go and distribute it to them, we would also get. And in one of those diaries, I remember the color also, sometimes they would be light pink in color, glossy pages in between with all kinds of products of Mohan Makins, which was, of course, it's a liquor company. It would have those glossy pages. One of the sher, or the Urdu poetry, I remember the words, I hope that I get them right. It said something like this, कि जब तक था दम में दम न दबे आसमां से हम, जब दम निकल गया तो जमीने दबा लिया. So, of people who are with us and not there with us, of their greatness and of their frailties. With that, we close this conversation, guftagu, heart to heart in the liminal space. Thank you very much. We'll meet up again, and hopefully Jyoti will also join us again.
Would love to. Thank you so much for making me a part of this beautiful space, Ritu and Anupa.
Thank you, Jyoti.
Dil se. Thanks, Dil se.
Thank you. Bye bye. See you.
Bye.